Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
We are here with Steve Samaras and Constance Polamalu. Did I get the name right?
Yes, you did.
I did, absolutely, from Zachary's Jewelers. And last we talked, we were in the middle of COVID, and we were talking about how you guys had really pivoted and figured out how to make it work, which was unusual for a retail operation as opposed to restaurants. Restaurants were able to, it was pretty cut and dry as to what they had to do. Some retail really struggled to figure it, and you guys really figured it out. So this time it's exciting. We're in person. We're across from a table and not on a Zoom call or on a telephone call. And we just wanted to check in and see, as we're all coming out of COVID, the vaccines are pretty much plentiful. I just heard from Governor Hogan this morning that we have 50% of all Marylanders that are fully vaccinated. And knocking on wood, we're coming out of this thing, and we're going to be able to see this in our rearview mirror pretty soon. But we wanted to check in and see where you guys were.
Well, John, thank you for having us here once again. Appreciate the support that Eye on Annapolis provides the entire community. We have, I have to tip my hat to the young lady sitting next to me, our COO, Constance. She, through her leadership, really took charge at the onset of the pandemic. And she realized that this was a little more severe situation than I did.
It wasn't that 2 week.
Oh,
I mean, I thought it's okay. So we'll muscle down for 2 weeks and we'll figure it out.
And 9 weeks, or a total of 9 weeks, all in all, we were shuttered. And again, through her leadership, we forged ahead. We created a slightly different business model to be able to satisfy people that were still in the need. People still had birthdays and anniversaries through that time, and
Sure.
and we had to accommodate. Coming out of that, we had contingency plans set up to be 20, 40, 60% off, and quickly realized that our number one competing industry was completely closed down, and that's the travel industry. So people were looking for opportunities to spend money elsewhere for major events, and they came to us.
That's so funny that you mentioned that the travel industry is one of your competitors, per se. And I always thought, when I used to own travel agencies, people were like, well, who's your competitor? And they're expecting me to say, oh, well, Amex Travel or AAA Travel or whatever it is. And I was like, yeah, no, it's Home Depot. It's Best Buy. It's the people that are looking to spend, $1,000 on a television to sit in their basement and watch. So that's refreshing to sit there and see that you realize that. I mean, let's face it. I mean, going into Zachary's Jewelers or any jeweler or any retailer, it's discretionary money. And, you want that. And with travel being shut down, I mean, imagine that's a boom for you, because you guys really did change up. I mean, you were able to buy curbside. You were able to buy online. You had the happy hours. You had everything that was really going on there. And it was amazing. I know it happened in the middle of you had a game show sale.
We did.
Just sort of like pulling the rug out from under you. I was talking to Anthony Clark the other day, and he says, it's great. The governor shuts down the state 2 days before St. Patrick's Day, our biggest day of the year.
Yeah.
It happened to us. We Constance and our team had been putting together the first sale in the history of Zachary's, and much like everything else we try to do at the store, we try to do it with a lot of fun. So we created a game show sale. A day and a half after we were open, the doors were shut, and a week-long event that we put about 6 months of effort into it. So coming out of the pandemic this year, we decided to forge ahead. We had all the collateral material, all the advertising in place. Let's try it again. And
just a little bit of liquid paper, change the dates, and off you go.
Exactly.
And it went off without a hitch, without any hitch that I was aware of. Maybe Constance recognizes a lot more than I did.
Constance, we'll keep that to ourselves. Okay, we'll talk
the
later.
show must go on.
So much so that we'll be bringing you back again next year.
Well, some of the things that you do every year is amazing. You've got, just most recently to right now when we're recording this, is your Mother's Day contest for the students, where they can design thing. And I have to say that your winner this year, there's some talent in there. You ought to be looking for that. Maybe in 15 years when when she's hitting her stride as an adult. But some of the designs that come out, and for those that aren't aware of this, fifth graders, right?
Fifth graders
can design a piece of jewelry for their mother, and it's why and everything else, and they submit it into Zachary's for a contest, and then your magicians turn around and make it reality.
Yes, we picked 3 of the drawings of the applicants, and I think we had over 200.
Yeah, I think something like that this year, which was a decline from what we have in regular time. But considering the students were still in either at-home models or hybrid models, we were really pleased. And the quality of submissions that we got this year were really, really stellar.
So obviously all these fifth graders were at home practicing their art skills as opposed to
I think so. I don't know how many iterations they went through to get them to us, but what we got was phenomenal.
Interestingly enough, John, we had our first year was 2011, I believe. Yeah, 2011. And we used to run from the Severna Park store. And one of the first 3 winners actually graduated from high school a couple of years ago, and she interned for us for a year.
I think actually 2 or
2 years.
Maybe almost 3.
Yeah, she's at Boston College now, and obviously we keep in touch with her, and she's just a lovely young lady.
So this woman got this bug in 5th grade.
Fifth grade.
Now she's going into fashion.
And saw it through to come back to you and intern with you for a couple of years.
What we started doing back then, when her graduating class, we offered the 3 winners the opportunity to take a Gemological Institute of America design course, which is an online course, and she jumped at the opportunity. She came out of that and with obviously stellar qualifications and just really added to the team at Zachary's.
That's fantastic. Well, I mean, you guys do have a great team, bar none, between yourself and with Errol. And, I'll throw it back. I know we mentioned your One Love Annapolis videos that you did on your personal Facebook page during the heat of this pandemic to figure, just to remind people about what a great town we have. And you with your deep roots are able to tell the story probably better than anybody else in town, which was fantastic. I mean, you learn something new. I always joke. I say I go out with a Debbie Gosselin boat sometime and do it 2 or 3 times a year, and I learn something new, just a little tidbit. It was fascinating. It was really a uplifting thing for people to sit there and watch.
Wow, I appreciate the compliment. I've heard that several times over the course of the last year, and it was really, and truth be told, Charlie couldn't stand me around the house anymore, and she said, "We've got to get you out of this house and doing something positive for the community," and that's what we thought we'd do.
I've heard that's the situation with a lot of retirements. It's like, hey, I put all my time in. I want to retire. Yeah, that's a great idea. 2 weeks later, it's like, get out.
Back to work.
Get out. Just find something to do. Well, you've been around town a long time. You are Greek, and just a pressing question for me, totally off topic, but next year, can you get this Greek festival in person again?
Oh my gosh, seriously.
Let me tell you, I walked past Nick Manis on the street just coming over here, and he said, he texted me the other night. He said, "Are you at the festival?" I said, "It's only carry out this year." And he said, "Oh boy, I thought I was missing something," because we always attended together and have a few shots of ouzo and carry on for the evening.
There's something about it not being in person.
It is.
And it was funny. I noticed my most noticeable day was on Sunday when I drove past it. And I was like, the parking, services had gone and the parking lot was totally empty. I'm like, oh, they'd still be there cleaning up and scrubbing and, and everything else. And it was like, oh. But the food was absolutely fantastic. We did do takeout, and it was in and out very quickly, very well run. But we got to get back to person on that. And it's so exciting to see different things coming back in person now.
It is.
I know there's a music festival coming up in July, and we had the Wing Festival recently. So that all went off without a hitch. So that's very good. What's the future looking like for Zachary's? I mean, where do you guys stand now? We're mostly out of COVID, and it looks like you kept some of your signature events. I mean, Christmas and the holidays were a little bit different back in 2020 than So where are we going now?
Yeah, a couple of things. One, we're going back to events to do things, the Zachary's way. Steve touched on earlier that we did have the game show sale. And we have actually a Christmas in July coming up. We decided, we missed our favorite Christmas festivities. So it's July. Let's do it. So we've got Santa coming. We'll have hula dancers, lots of fun things there. And
you're replacing the ballet dancers with hula dancers?
Just for Christmas in July. And lots of expansion in general. We learned a lot of things about ourselves in COVID. We've always been a company that strives for excellence and executes on that, mission. We call it our culture of excellence. And that's given us the opportunity to really look at expanding our team. And so right now, at the top of mind, we're looking for great people who enjoy being excellent no matter what's happening. I think you can see that in what we did during COVID even, that, doesn't matter if the external situation is good or bad. Excellence is our mission. And we're looking for more people who understand that. And you don't have to know about jewelry to know about excellence. We can teach you about jewelry. We can teach you about diamonds. We can even teach you how to design, Sure. But we can't teach you to love excellence.
Well, that is innate, and that's something that's very rare. Arguably you are the gold star, that's not the right term, but you are the the star retailer of Main Street. I mean, you're the anchor at Main Street, right at the corner of Main and Compromise Market Space, what's down there at the foot of Main Street. You've been a staple for, I know you were going on, 12, 13 years on the Fire.
It's been 16 years.
Oh, my word. Yeah. When you were a couple stores up, but Steve, have been involved with the Annapolis Business Association that's no longer the Downtown Annapolis Park. I mean, you just can't name an event, the City Dock Action Committee, to be able to really steer where the town is. So, I mean, you are as vested in this town as anybody is. And the service that you provide is beyond compare. And it speaks to the people that have been there for years and years and years that don't leave, which is something good. But what does it take to work for you? I mean, excellence is sort of a vague.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, passion. And when we say excellence, it's vague in the sense that, what does that really mean? How does that relate to what we do? But, if Steve looks back, one of the first things that he always says about when he's hiring is he looks for people who have already been excellent at something else. So that's why I say you don't have to know anything about jewelry, but you have to have a passion and a drive to be the best always.
At whatever you're doing.
Exactly. Sometimes that's, being an NFL cheerleader. Sometimes that's being a beauty queen. Sometimes it's being a champion stick fighter.
Right.
We've had all of them. Yeah. One seated right next to you, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what I say when that's that extra something that we're looking for, is somebody who can get really passionate about anything, really, but especially people and learning and continuing forward, and just that desire to press on and upward.
Well, you guys are in a sort of a strange position because, I mean, the retail sector, you're a luxury retail brand or luxury retail sector, but I mean, the typical, clothing boutiques and certainly the restaurants are all struggling to get employees. Mm-hmm. And this is something different. This is not necessarily, you're not looking for somebody that's here for the summer. You're not looking for somebody that's here for, a year until the next thing comes along. I mean, you're probably looking for a career-oriented type of a person with this excellence, correct? Absolutely.
I think we're looking for somebody who's looking to build, either build a new career, build a second career, build a first career, but somebody who really wants to find a place that they can grow and continue to learn and advance. We are absolutely at a really pivotal point in our business where we're growing and learning and changing all the time, but now especially.
Does the jewelry industry change? It seems like it has to be a fairly stagnant as far as, product. I mean, there's certain designs change and everything else, but obviously there's some technology that goes on. I know you guys are embrace the heck out of that between, your magazines and your websites and the coffee hours that you had during COVID and the selfie station that was in the store and everything. So, you guys do embrace it. But, in the basic sense, you're creating, beautiful heirlooms for people. And, some of it is purchased and sold. And I don't know whether most or a lot, but a lot of it is actually created. It's one of a kind that you guys are doing with your own designers and your own goldsmiths. Is that the word?
Yeah, that's a word that works.
Okay. To create these heirlooms for families. But has the jewelry industry really fundamentally changed technology-wise, or is...
That's a very good question. So a lot of the jewelry industry is typically slow to change. We do still do a lot of things the way that people were doing them thousands of years ago. But we at Zachary's are actually frequently recognized nationally and internationally for implementing the changes that are happening in jewelry. And for us, it comes down to how can we make everything more personal, more human, and at the same time more convenient. So what COVID taught us was the benefits of implementing technology to reach people where they are when they want to be there. But what our history teaches us is that the core and the most important part of everything that we do is still the people and those celebratory moments that we get to be a part of.
You guys have to have the best business in the world. I mean, you're such a happy business. Nobody goes out of there ticked off.
What other profession can you name where 99.9% of the people that walk through your door are in an elevated, highly elevated, positive, emotional state?
Storm Brothers. Go ahead, your turn.
Ice cream. You got me on that.
I don't know. I've seen some, crying people eating ice cream.
That's just because it fell off but no, absolutely. I mean, people go in there to celebrate something joyous in their lives, and you're fulfilling a need.
Yeah, and we get to be a part of that. I mean, there's nothing better to me than the text messages that come after she said yes or after the baby's been born. And people let us be a part of their lives in these really beautiful moments. I mean, if we have an extra moment, I'll share a story. I once sold an engagement ring to a young man, and he came in just off the street. He told me he hadn't really been thinking about engagement rings, but the idea just popped in his mind. So he came in and we talked about it. And he said, it just occurred to me that she's the one. So let's talk about this. So we did. And eventually I sold him an engagement ring, beautiful ring. Years later, he sent me an Instagram DM and he said, "Constance, I have a secret. Can I tell you?" And I said, "Well, sure." And I was a little nervous. I was like, okay, where's this going? But curiosity got the best of me. So I said, "Sure. What's going on?" And he said, "I just found out that Lisa's pregnant, and we decided not to tell anybody. But you seem safe because you're outside of our friend circle, and you were the first person to know that I was going to ask her to marry me. So it seems fitting that you be the first person that know that we're having a baby."
Wow.
And that's what our business is about, and that's the beauty of what we do, and that's why I will never, ever, ever leave Zachary's and jewelry and being able to be a part of people's lives like that.
Talk about a relationship building. That's unbelievable.
For anyone listening to this podcast that's looking for a career in jewelry, you just heard the person that's going to be taking care of you. That's how passionate she is about this industry. That's why we love her, and that's why she's part of our business.
How long have you been with Zachary's, Constance?
Almost 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Great. And that was even remote sometimes because my husband went to the Naval Academy and then served in the Marine Corps. And Steve found a home for me and knew that I fit the family at Zachary's and has been my biggest mentor and champion all along.
Is that what it's all about, mentoring, as you move through a career with Zachary's?
Yeah, I'm obviously approaching the twilight of my career in this business, and not that
don't count on that. Charlie's going to kick you out again.
I have no intentions of retiring, maybe to Constance's dismay.
right.
But she is the future of the business, and I'm so happy to have found her because, as you know, my sisters and I and my wife have run the business since its inception, and it was to do one of two things. You either close the business, you sell it, or what have you. You find somebody to transition it to, and she has she's provided that opportunity for me to be able to step back and play golf another day or two during the week, and for everyone else to feel more confident about the future of the business. You don't fake that kind of passion that she just exhibited on this.
No, you don't. It's very legitimate. It's very honest and very natural. I would say, and I can see her, how Zachary's has changed over the last 7 years, in morphing from, and I don't want to say you ever were, but just the typical retail type of a model to event based. We throw back and for those that aren't aware, when we all laughed about the hula dancers and the ballet dancers, but every time we kick off the holiday season downtown, there's the lighting of the Christmas tree, and Zachary's Jeweler sponsors the Ballet Theater of Maryland, Maryland Ballet,
Chesapeake Ballet,
one of the ballet companies around that come down and they dance scenes from the Nutcracker. Right out there in the street, they put down a special mat and they mix and mingle within the store and everything else. It's just a beautiful celebratory time. Certainly, you go all out on the Midnight Madnesses.
John, I can't take credit for the events at Zachary's. The soul of our events is Steve's sister, Evangeline. I think the only thing that I could maybe even close to take credit for is just supporting and believing in her ability to create experiences. I'd like to call her our chief experience creator. And that's a role that I think is vital to who we are and who we will continue to be. So that's another space in our team that is growing. Being a part of our team at Zachary's isn't just about selling, but understanding where we can further excel. And, Evangeline also needs a right hand. Everybody on our team who's doing and developing and continuing to do really brilliant things needs somebody to kind of learn with them and grow with them. And that's where, you mentioned mentoring. We've got a lot of avenues to mentor and foster career growth within our company.
Now, does somebody have to have a design, this eye for design? I mean, you do a lot of design, and I imagine there's designers that will do that and work with somebody. But is that a separate type of a person, or is certainly, I guess it can't hurt.
It's helpful, but, I think being around jewelry, the beauty of what we do at Zachary's is that absolutely we have every opportunity to create and design custom pieces, but we also have world-renowned designers in our showcases. And I think being around world-renowned designers and even sometimes getting to meet them in person, like when Marco Bichigo came down to see us, it elevates your ability to see, understand, and then relay design and beauty and aesthetic. And so, that's turned into Brittany is a prime example of someone who works with us. She had a background in graphic design, but not really a background in jewelry before she came to us. And yet she just won a national contest against thousands of contestants.
First place
For custom design.
I saw that with some heavy hitting cities other than Annapolis.
Exactly.
And that was a fantastic design. That was just absolutely beautiful.
And Constance also has been the recipient of a national award. Why don't you speak a little bit about that? I know you want to talk about yourself, but you're sitting here. It's important.
I've been selected in the first class of emerging designers sponsored by the Natural Diamond Council and Lorraine Schwartz. So there are 6 of us in the first class, and we have been awarded some really amazing opportunities to grow and design. And for me, it's been an opportunity to connect with my own heritage in more of a niche market than we do at Zachary's. So, it's really beautiful for me as an individual to be able to have, my home at Zachary's, but also, and this opportunity to connect with individuals one-on-one, but also this opportunity to connect on a global level with, people surrounding culture and identity.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Now, out of curiosity, what is the heritage?
I am celebrating my heritage in American Samoa first. So it's a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific. And a lot of people don't know it exists, let alone that it's an American territory.
Sure.
But we've got some really beautiful things about our culture, specifically the importance of family, which I think is a universal theme. And we display it a little differently, but when we really start to break it apart, I think there are similarities between everyone's culture. The way that we hand things down, the way that we introduce people in a room. And so the collection that I'm working on with the Natural Diamond Council is about celebrating that.
The family
and, continuation and legacy.
When do we see this?
Very soon. Very
soon.
soon.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go and put a for sale sign on my recorder here and stuff like this. So where do I go to apply to get this job? Okay, so nobody. I'm sold. It does sound like what does an employee want when they get a job? They want security. They want to be able to be appreciated. They want to feel valued. They want to be able to be trained. Nobody goes into a job saying, I know it all. They want to learn. And it seems that that's exactly what you guys are looking for. We want to bring somebody. You've mentioned a couple of times that, the jewelry experience is not necessarily needed. With the right passion, you could sell, anything.
You can. And at the level that we have positioned Zachary's in the industry, it becomes more of a sale of passion than it does just, I need something for a Valentine's Day gift. Or we are not looking for people who want a job. We're looking for people who want a career. I think that speaks.
And there's a huge difference between the two.
There is a huge difference. There is.
Sure. Well, how do we do this? We roll into 100 Main Street and ask for Constance?
You're welcome to do that. I love meeting people in person. But you can also come to zacharysjewelers.com. On our homepage, we have a link to our careers page. Or if you want to skip that and go straight to the careers page, that's zacharysjewelers.com/careers. And that can tell you a little bit more about the positions. You can find our culture book there to really get a more in-depth look at what we do. And if it's a fit for you, send us your resume.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like a great opportunity for some folks. How many people are you looking to expand your team by? 30, 40, 50?
As many as that fit the bill. Right. We're not going to turn. Constance walked in 7 years ago with a resume, and informed us that she only had 6 months or 9 months to work there because Michael, her husband, was going to be graduating and moving away. And that turned into a relationship that stemmed across the country. We would fly her in once a month for a week. She actually stayed at our house during that period of, I guess it was at least a year and a half, right?
Yeah, and then we increased the frequency.
Yeah.
To every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I would bring Theo with me.
She had a baby in the meantime.
Oh, my word.
He had more frequent flyer miles than I've ever had.
He was my little roll dog.
As I say, one of my funny, you triggered my memory, but you said you're not the type that's like, oh, gosh, I need something for Valentine's Day. Let me, quick. Not obviously that you can't do that, but that's just not the first type of the store that you are. And I remember when I was first married, I had lost my wedding ring, And I was the good husband, and I went home. I said, I don't know where I did it. And she was disappointed. We went and we bought it again, bought another one. And sure enough, about 6 weeks later, lost it again. Fell off. And I said, there is no way in hell I'm going home without a wedding ring. And it was about 11 o'clock, so I went over to the Oxford Valley Mall up in Pennsylvania, and I knew what it looked like. And I shopped by who had it, who could size it and engrave it by 5 o'clock that night. And I mean, it was an art carved or something. So it was like $200 or something like that. So it wasn't this huge thing. And as I find somebody that's finally able to do it, and I said, now I need to pay it with like 9 different forms of payment, because you can't go to a jewelry store with like a $300 charge on a credit card and easily explain that. I can't say, it was cleaning my watch or something like that when I get home. So it was like, okay, put $20 on this ATM, put $50 on this MasterCard, and put this on American Express, and here's $72 and whatever it was. And I took it back to my office. I got a string, tied it to the ring, tied it to my belt loop, and walked all around like the parking lot and stuff to scuff it up. See, I'm thinking. and if my ex-wife is listening to this, now she knows the story. But scuffed it all up, but it was all engraved, and it was that was my little secret.
That's a great story.
But it's
not to attempt to one up you, but I do have one story I'd like to mention to you. There was a local restaurateur, and I won't mention who, as many of you probably knew them or him. He got married several years ago, maybe as many as 20 years ago. Bought his wedding band from me and ordered a duplicate. When he picked up the first one, I said, "What's that for?" He said, "I know I'm going to lose this either playing golf or doing something. So if I lose it, I'll have the second one here." He is now on his 8th ring.
That's awesome.
8th ring.
That's brilliant.
Wife has never known that he ever lost.
That is absolutely brilliant. He's probably got one on order right now.
It's in the store in the completed file.
But he'll have to take your tips of dragging it around the parking lot.
Oh, that's fantastic. Order 2. See, you need next time you do a men's wedding ring thing, you ought to have a 2-for-1 sale.
Yeah. You know what?
You'll market it to the women and say, look, he's going to lose it. This is his one get out of jail free card. Okay?
John, I can't wait till you come to work with us at Zachary's.
Well, I'll tell you, go check it out at zacharysjewelers.com. I'm having fun here talking about this, but I think it would be equally as fun working for you guys. I just couldn't deal with the dress code. I kind of like the flip-flops and the shorts thing, but that's if you open one up down at the beach.
And it does include some weekends, too.
Yeah, well, I guess that goes without saying. Retail, you're not going to escape that. That's the way of life of retail.
Yes.
But you guys are doing retail right. You've done it right for many, many years. And I told the story a couple times. When the first time we talked about how Zachary's got it started, I said, well, who the hell is Zachary and what's that? And you were saying it was like that marketing professor at University of Maryland said, never name your company anything other than A's because the yellow pages or something like this. Okay,
Great memory, John.
And I didn't like the guy, so it was Zachary.
Yeah, and he couldn't foresee the internet, so I guess there's that.
That is absolutely true. And I mean, and the internet has been great because, I mean, it's obviously been enabled you guys through COVID to be able to deal with your customers worldwide. I know that you do have a great relationship with the graduates of the Naval Academy that are constantly coming back in the families that are there for the rings and whatnot. I know that there's so many that do get married, such as you, Constance, out of the Naval Academy, that will come back and they'll purchase their engagement rings and their wedding rings and everything else for that. And it's
one other interesting story I'd like to leave you with. Errol has been with me since, as he tells people, he and I have shared more meals than he and his wife have. But he came to me a few years ago and he tears in his eyes, and I said, "What happened?" He said, "You wouldn't believe what I just experienced." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, gentleman that graduated from the academy whenever, he got his class gemstones from us for his ring, then ended up coming to me and buying his engagement ring, and then after that his wedding band, then after that his push gift, and this is when he's of course, not living in Annapolis. He was
Right.
on tour.
Okay.
I just got a phone.
Push gift. What's that?
Push gift is when your wife is delivering the baby.
Push. Okay. Okay. Hey, I'm learning something new here.
And finally, I got a phone call from the guy, or not a phone call, but he walked in just a few minutes ago, and he said, "I'm so and so," and I remembered his name. And he said, "I'm here to buy my 10th anniversary gift from you." And he said, "Do you know why I'm here?" And Errol said, "No, why?" He said, "Because you were here for every important occasion of my life, or I can't buy anything in jewelry from anyone else. I don't care where in the world I am." He said, "You were the most important person that I ever dealt with with an emotional purchase, and I continue to do that." And it would just overwhelmed him. I mean, you can imagine.
Wow.
I mean, I've dealt with 3 generations of men now in engagement rings, which is pretty humbling in and of itself. But
It's too bad my dad didn't know you. He's married 5 times. So it was...
had some of those in there too.
Well, I joke with my I have only sold to one generation so far.
I joke about my father. I said he loved the concept of marriage. The execution needed a little bit of work on that. So, Constance Polamalu and Steve Samaras from Zachary's Jewelers, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on the successes, the lessons, and the future that's been developed out of COVID. I mean, it's sort of nice to see that something somewhat good comes out of it. And, the expansion and in fact, and anybody that's looking for a career, this is not a one-year stopover on the way to wherever it is. Check it out. Zachary'sJewelers.com/careers. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Or walk in on 100 Main Street and ask for Constance. Tell them that just demand to see her, slam her fist down on the case or something like that, and act like you own the place or something. But it would be a great opportunity for the person that has the passion for excellence. And as vague as that sounds, I think those that have it probably know exactly what we're talking about and probably need to give you a call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.